Well, good evening to everyone in Korea and good morning to everyone in America and anyone else who may be watching. I can't describe how great an honor it is to be part of this, so I thank KDVA and KUSAF for making it possible for us to participate in this tribute. And I do hope that it will be viewed and used as a reference for years to come so that people can have a feeling for this incredible human being. I certainly ascribe myself to all the things that have been said thus far and those things that will be said about this amazing man. I could count, I don't know how many words that would describe him accurately. You know, very few people can have so many different descriptors applied to them, but all that you've heard so far and all that you'll continue to hear would tell you about the extraordinary breadth and depth of General Paik Sun-yup. Whether it's a patriot, a warrior, a leader by example, courageous, a diplomat, an ambassador, an exemplar, a father, a grandfather, a very proud one indeed, a humble individual, someone who is determined. All these things that have been said, every one of them accurately describes General Paik Sun-yup. I can think of many encounters that I had with him. My earliest ones occurred when I was a lieutenant colonel commanding an infantry battalion in Korea back in 1996 to 1998. And I had a few occasions to meet General Paik. And it amazed me when I returned to Korea some years later. It was actually at the change of command ceremony as General Scaparrotti took over for General Thurman. And General Paik Sun-yup, of course, was there, as he was for every one of us. He was one of the first sitting in the stands. And I was visiting from U.S. Army Pacific in Hawaii at the time. And I recognized him, I knew he was there, and I walked over to him before the ceremony began just to pay my respects and say good morning to him. And he said, "Ah, Brooks, I remember you." And how it would be that someone so distinguished who had met so many incredible luminaries of history would remember someone like me. It absolutely floored me. And so we've talked about his incredible memory, and indeed he could recount any battle that he was in, any negotiation that occurred as the armistice was being created in such a painful and long-term process over those 2.5 years. He could tell you who was in a given fighting position at a given point in time. He knew people by their names, and he even knew each one of us. So we all have firsthand personal experiences with General Paik, every one of them entirely sincere, and that's who he was. He would meet you as you are and meet you as another person, hold you accountable, and not by saying things that would be harsh words of accountability, but rather simply by letting you know how important it was to keep going with the same battle that he'd been fighting for a long time. That was a battle for the alliance and its value. And so I think each of us, as we remember General Paik Sun-yup, we also have to remember the obligation that he's passed on to us and the obligation we have to pass on to each succeeding generation. We may not live to be 100 or 101 years old like he did, but for the time that we have, especially the time we had with one another, we have this obligation to carry. So I will always remember General Paik Sun-yup, his kindness, his thoughtfulness, and his example, and will do my best to live up to that, as I know many will. So, Pyongwalopke Yushik Paik Sun-yup Jangunin, and we will see you again on the other side, sir. Thank you very much.